I'm going to introduce you in this video to an artist who's a real pro in painting. Every victim he killed, he'd paint a powerful picture of their body. He's a serial killer, mentally ill, and an artist all at once. He called himself the Scalp Hunter. He's a painter and a writer of dark poems, with over 300 pieces of artwork, each one stranger and crazier than the last. This story is going to be super interesting, so grab a drink and pay close attention to the details. On October 13, 1995, John Patrick Sweeney was born in Liverpool, England. As a teenager, John loved art and painting and tried to pursue it by joining an art school, but his dad was a carpenter and insisted he follow that path instead. First, John objected to his dad's decision, but his dad was patient and explained that they were from the working class. He told him to forget the silly art stuff that was just wasting his time and to come learn his trade instead. After that, John took it seriously. Even though his dad was strict with him, John kept working with him. During his teenage years, he was often arrested because of fights with people in the neighborhood. One time, he grabbed an axe and tried to hit someone on the head, but the fight ended without anyone getting seriously hurt. After that, everyone started avoiding John. In 1974, when he was 18, John got married to a girl named Anne, and they had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. But their relationship was really bad, like way beyond repair, because he was always abusing her. After 5 years of marriage, his wife left him. But John had this crazy way of convincing people, and 2 years later, they got back together and remarried. After that, he went back to treating her the same way as before. One day, she had surgery, and even though that happened, John came home drunk and started hitting her. That was the moment she decided to finally leave him for good. But the next day, she was talking to her neighbor when she suddenly heard noises coming from her house. She immediately called the police and went back with them. When they went into the bedroom, John suddenly jumped out of the closet. He showed up with a rusty axe and a knife. But when he saw the police with her, he changed his story and told them he was just joking and wanted to surprise her. Obviously, it was clear from the start he had no good intentions. The strange thing is, they let him go on the condition that he stay away from his ex-wife. After that, he did leave her, moved to London, and worked as a carpenter in a factory. One time, he met an American model at a photo shoot, Melissa, John's new victim. Like I told you, he had a crazy way of convincing people, and Melissa was a vulnerable girl in a foreign country. She saw John and was impressed, and at first, they lived together. Their relationship was great at first, but then John's true crazy side started to show. He began abusing her just like he did with his wife. When her family found out she was involved with this lunatic, her sister decided to visit her in London. As soon as she arrived and met John, she felt something was off. Her suspicions grew when she saw drugs in their house. Even stranger, after a year, the problems between the couple got worse. The police arrested him several times because he kept abusing Melissa. One time, he threw a chair at her and broke her leg. Poor girl must have suffered a lot with him, but the weird thing is, she never left him. Up until 1988, they decided to move to Austria and live there for a while. Their life was stable. One day, a fundy John came home drunk and got into an argument with Melissa. He grabbed a hammer and hit her on the head. He was arrested and put in jail, while Melissa was taken to the hospital because she had a skull fracture. While in jail, John kept drawing and expressing all the hatred and anger inside him through his sketches. The drawing you have is one of his works, titled Romantic Weekend Getaway for 2 in Austria. Obviously, the painting doesn't show anything romantic at all, which is the strange part. After Melissa recovered, in the second month of 1989, she did something totally unexpected at the time in Austria. The victim could actually appeal to the judge to get the criminal released, and the judge did listen to her and let John go on the condition that he left Austria. They didn't waste any time. They packed up and moved to Amsterdam in the Netherlands, rented an apartment and lived a normal life. But in November 1989, Melissa called her mother, and when her mom didn't answer, she left a voicemail. Unfortunately, that was the last call she ever made. 6 months later, things got heated between John and Melissa, and this time it didn't end well at all. He decided to kill her, and he actually did. After that, he killed her, chopped off her head, legs, and arms from her body. Then he put the body in a big black bag, went to Rotterdam, threw the bag into a canal, and ran away like nothing had happened. After a while, someone noticed the bag, and it was clear the matter was suspicious, so they started looking for any info about it. At that time, they didn't connect the disappearance case to the body because they couldn't identify her, so the investigation was closed, and she was buried in a public cemetery. John got rid of Melissa and was never caught. In 1991, he decided to move to London and look for a new victim. It didn't take long before he met nurse Delia Palma, who was 40 years old. For a year, when he was 34, he told her that he was always traveling to Germany and that he had worked there. Delia loved traveling and felt like this guy was her Prince Charming who would sweep her off her feet on a white horse. John did everything to make her feel loved. He always brought her flowers and chocolates, and even used his carpentry skills to make all the wooden furniture for their home. She was happy with him, but after 2 years, Delia started to see the dark side of her Prince Charming and realized how much hatred he had inside. She asked him to leave the house, but he refused. John held on to her so tightly that he wouldn't even let her go anywhere. Whenever she wanted to go somewhere alone, he had to be with her. One day, she ran away from him and went with her other boyfriend. When John found out, he tied her to the bed with a rope, brought a gun and a knife, and told her, "I have to do to you what I did to my old friend Melissa. If you knew what I did to her, you'd never try to run from me again." She asked him, "What did you do to her, man?" He told her, "One time, I broke into the house while she had 2 of her friends over. I killed them all and stayed with their bodies for 3 days. Then the next day, I cut them up, put them in bags, and got rid of them." That's when Delia realized her boyfriend was a killer and that she was his hostage. He kept her locked up in the house for a week, but after that, she managed to laugh at us. She let it go and went back to work. Delia went to the police and told them that her boyfriend was a killer living in Amsterdam with his ex-girlfriend. She said he had killed her and her friends and got rid of their bodies. But the police felt like she was messing with them and didn't take her seriously, so she went back home. Meanwhile, the drama kept heating up between the couple. One day, they got into a big fight while Delia's friend was at the house. The friend called the police, who came over. That's when Delia told them everything again from the start. So they decided to search the house, and during the search, they found a bag in the bathroom. The bag belonged to John, and inside it were gloves, a surgical mask, and ropes. It was clear why he kept that bag. But the strange thing was that he was detained for only a week on the condition that he would return to his family in Liverpool. However, he broke that condition and started stalking her every day. One day, as she was leaving her house, she was looking at her bike to go to work, but John was watching her then. Suddenly, he pulled out a knife and hit her arm with a hatchet. Then he took out a knife and stabbed her multiple times in her body. But during the attack, Delia managed to protect herself with the bike and stabbed him back in the thigh and chest, puncturing a lung. After several surgeries, she survived. After the incident, John came back to London with a new identity and stayed on the run for 6 years. He kept painting his artworks the whole time. He was everywhere and with every girl, always disguised differently and using a new name each time so he wouldn't get caught. This time in London, he met a girl named Paula, who was 31. Paula was a drug addict, and honestly, the stuff she was into is hard to even talk about. When she met John, she liked him and saw him as her type, and he liked her too. They arranged a place and lived together. But after a while, Paula got seriously hooked on the poisonous stuff she was taking. She was even buying it herself and telling the dealer that John was going to hold you accountable, and he started getting annoyed by her behavior. He snapped, killed her, and did what Melissa did. Cut her body up, separated the parts, put them in bags, and dumped them in a water canal. In the second month of 2002, a group of guys were fishing and found a bag with a chopped-up body inside. This kicked off an investigation. Imagine, they ended up seizing over 300 pieces of art, as I like to call them, along with some sinister poems he was hiding in his room. There were paintings and drawings that showed just how dark, hateful, and full of rage he was. One of the most famous paintings was called The Hunter of the Rotten Skull, and next to it was the skull of a blonde girl. People say he did that on purpose. Delia, born in 2002, was accused of attempting to kill Delia and other crimes, ending up with 4 life sentences. Despite these sentences, He might be eligible for parole after 9 years because there wasn't any solid evidence linking him to the murders of the victims, Paolo and Melissa. But during the investigation, things started to get complicated. First, like I told you, when he fought with Delia, he told her that he had killed his girlfriend Melissa and her friends at the house. This was the first piece of evidence. The second was that John was friends with the victims, and the two victims were killed in the same way. The third evidence is, I don't want to show the drawings he made, but they're basically pictures of a body cut up the same way the victims' bodies were dismembered. The fourth piece of evidence that confirmed his guilt in the murder was a card that Yanasib kept. On the back, he'd written, "Poor old Melissa. I cut her up like fish food in Amsterdam on April 4th, 21. John Patrick Sweeney was convicted on 2 counts of murder and corruption charges. Even though he wasn't charged with a second murder, the police believe his paintings hide stories of many crimes, murders, and tortures he committed. And that brings us to the end of our story. See you in the next video.